Hey there, Hammer fan. Welcome back to HammeredHead. Today we're looking at the Vintage Collection Deluxe Cobb Vanth Mandalorian Armor. If I'm not mistaken, this was the first deluxe figure that they put on like this oversized card back. They've recently announced they're not doing that anymore, so that's pretty cool. But, you know, here we go. We're doing a little throwback to the old way that they did it for like a year and a half. I think he looks pretty cool. There's a really awesome photo of him on the card back here. I'm not going to harp on it too much. I think everybody's in agreement, but I'm really happy they're not doing these ones anymore. Because look at all this empty space here. Like, there's no need for this to have been like a huge card back. Very bizarre. I understand deluxe figure, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to be a dead horse. Everybody's, you know, said that already. But yeah, really great image here. I think he looks awesome. I like the yellow color they went with for the background too. So pretty sweet in the packaging. Here we go, VC343. Awesome pose on the back. Cobb Vanth Mandalorian Armor. At one time, Mos Pelgo Marshal Cobb Vanth was custodian of Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor, which he bought off of Jawa traders. Yeah, this guy was in From a Certain Point of View for A New Hope. And actually, I think he was in all three of them, or at least A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. But yeah, so that was really cool to see him show up in actual live action. This was a really deep cut character. But yeah, I loved him in the shows. Pretty excited to get the figure, so let's open him up. Okay, so here we have him out and about. This is with the helmet on. It is a swappable head helmet, not removable helmet. So we'll take a look later on once we take that helmet off. The other options we have, and I'm sure you're probably aware of the issues with the removable armor thing they went with here. Kind of goofy. But he does look pretty cool with the helmet on. Holds the blaster really nicely, I'd say. They did a pretty good job actually weathering the armor to make it look like super messed up, like it just came out of the Sarlacc pit. Exception being the jetpack. Does not really look weathered at all. Great paint scheme. A lot of detailing on it, but not as weathered as the helmet or the breastpiece here. But that's okay. If you're looking at him from the front, he looks really awesome. The blaster he comes with is pretty cool. Not painted or anything, which is unfortunate, but it's a nice sculpt. It looks pretty sweet. And then yeah, if we take a closer look, there is a lot of great detailing and paint on this guy. So definitely a step up from a lot of figures recently that I've maybe skimped out on the paint. I think this one actually looks pretty good, all things considered. Really cool little, you know, hose sculpted in over here, which is nice. I like his belts. He's got like some nice detailing on the actual holster belt here. And he's got another tan one underneath. And they even painted on the belt loops on his pants, which is pretty cool. Great sculpting on the legs down here. Cool little sort of knee piece that I think actually comes off. Yep, so you can take off that knee brace thing if you wanted to, but obviously I think that looks really sick, so I'm going to leave that on. There you go. Yeah, it looks really cool. The pistol fits in pretty nicely in the belt. Nothing too crazy on the sculpt. I think we've gotten this one before. But it looks really awesome. Fits in his hand all right. So whichever weapon you want to have, I'm probably going to put the pistol in the holster and then display him with the rifle, because the rifle looks really awesome. Yeah, so it's, oh yeah, even some cool gauntlet work here. We also get these flame jetpack effect things that fit in. They fit in decently. Problem is the like the actual exhaust port things are really flimsy, so you got to be pretty careful putting those in. But they get in there, and then if you have like, oh shoot, anyway, if you get like a figure flight stand, you can have them flying around. Looks pretty decent, nothing crazy. But yeah, pretty solid appearance for Cobb Vanth here. All right, now we're gonna get into the controversial parts of this figure, and I say controversial. It's not really controversial. It's kind of universally agreed that Hasbro dropped the ball here. But you get the removable head helmet, which I guess people like. And then you can pull off a scarf. The jetpack does come off. Ugh. There we go. And then this rocket is also removable, so you can fire the rocket at the enemies. Then underneath there's just a giant hole here, and then you can unplug the hose and remove the armor if you wanted to do this for some reason. They just recently released the actual Marshall Cobb Vanth that has the armorless version. This, I think, was an attempt to get an armorless version out there along with the regular Boba Fett armor one. But in my opinion, and pretty much everyone's opinion, that was a miss because you can't take this off. This hose is sculpted into the gauntlet. You can't remove the gauntlets. There's a giant hole in his back. And his neck looks like uncomfortably long, at least to me. So you can put the scarf on. Probably looks a little better, but I don't know. It's they didn't need to add that feature, and I think would have been fine without that removable function like that they added for no reason. And you know, we would have just had maybe swappable head, helmet, just a nice little Cobb Vanth and his stolen Boba Fett armor. Because this is just like really bizarre. I can't imagine anybody displays their Cobb Vanth like this, or ever would have, even if they didn't release the new one. Yeah, it's been discussed ad nauseum, so I'm not gonna pile too much on there. But the good news is that he still looks pretty good. They did put a lot of effort into making the character look nice here, so I'll take it. Articulation is pretty peak. You obviously have that ball joint head, which moves really nice. Shoulders move really well. Or the elbow goes well past 90 degrees there. We got a hinge wrist. Ball waist. That just goes way down to the actual waistline. Sometimes a little higher up. Just goes right down to his below his belly button there. The barbell hips move really nice. Cut at the thigh. Knee, ball joint knees that go again a little bit past 90, and then look at that, we got some rocker ankle action. So this figure is awesome. If they had not dropped the ball on the removable armor, I think the articulation and the appearance other than that is like pretty much one of the best qualities we could have requested for a figure, especially for a character as small as Cobb Vanth. So I love to see that. Yeah, so there we got Cobb Vanth Mandalorian Armor. I am pretty happy with this figure. I think the best way to display him is with the armor on. Maybe you can have his actual head on and then he's holding the helmet or something. That would look pretty cool too. Yeah, obviously the biggest drawback is that attempt to make the armor removable. That, in my opinion, just completely fails. So I wouldn't even bother removing it. Just leave it on. It looks really good the way it is. And if you want an armorless Cobb Vanth, just get the recent Marshall release that I'll review at a later date. But yeah, so there we go. There's Marshall Cobb Vanth Mandalorian Armor. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Be sure to follow on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Check out the Patreon page. And don't forget, stay hammered.